And I'm Elaine Quijano. President Trump is calling on his attorney general to end the Mueller probe, the investigation into Russian meddling during the 2016 elections. And his attorney, Rudy Giuliani, defended the president's sentiment. Giuliani said Wednesday the administration has been pushing for the Mueller probe to wrap up for months, and that the president's tweet was his opinion, not an order. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett has the latest.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said today President Trump wants the special counsel investigation to end because it's corrupt.
The president is not obstructing, he's fighting back. The president is stating his opinion.
Sir, do those tweets account as interference, sir?
The president ignored questions about a series of tweets this morning that suggested a new level of anxiety about Robert Mueller's probe into Russian interference in the 2016 election. This is a terrible situation, and Attorney General Jeff Sessions should stop this rigged witch hunt right now, Mr. Trump wrote. Mueller is totally conflicted.
I have recused myself in the matters that deal with the Trump campaign.
Because of that March 2017 decision, Sessions can take no action. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein has overseen Mueller's probe, which began over a year ago. But the president does have the executive authority to shut down an investigation he believes is illegitimate.
If he believes that, why doesn't he follow through on it?
Once again, the president has allowed this process to play out, but he thinks it's time for it to come to an end.
One roadblock? A presidential interview. Negotiations over the scope of any questioning of Mr. Trump have dragged on for months.
They sent us a proposal. We responded to their proposal. They took about 10 days, and yesterday we got a letter back from them. And now we're in the process of responding to their proposal.
Joining me now from the White House is CBS News Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett. So, Major, what would have to happen for Rod Rosenstein to end the Russia investigation? And is there any way to tell at all whether or not that's even likely?
Well, the only way conceivably that would happen is if for the president to order that and Rod Rosenstein, as an employee of the executive branch and directly thereof of the president, carrying out that order. But Rudy Giuliani, the president's attorney, after the president's many tweets this morning, raised this prospect anew, said the president said should, not could, not would. And he's not going to issue a directive. He hasn't issued a directive. And based on everything that Rod Rosenstein has told Congress, he wouldn't carry that out anyway, because under the law, as he has interpreted it and repeated it to Congress, you can only fire a special counsel for cause. And Rod Rosenstein has said repeatedly he has seen no cause to end this investigation. So it's a lot of Twitter-generated conversation and intrigue. But if Rudy Giuliani is to be believed and the posture of the White House is to be believed, the president is in large part blowing off steam, offering an opinion, not suggesting what he would do as the chief constitutional officer in the government.
Well, Major, I know you can't get in the president's head, but why do you think the president is choosing to raise this again now? Is this all about the Manafort trial, or could there be some other factors at play?
The Manafort trial is a significant factor, I'm told. The president, as we all know, is a very studious observer of media coverage, and I'm told he has been incensed for the last 24 to 48 hours about coverage of the Paul Manafort trial, because in every headline and every way that story is described, he is put in dead center of that conversation or those headlines, to which he, in various forms of outrage, tells his advisors, Paul Manafort is being charged with crimes that occurred long before he was my campaign general chairman. Nothing about this trial has any relationship to me or to my campaign. Why do I keep getting thrown into these stories? Well, because he was, that is to say Manafort, Trump's general campaign chairman. Now, the president is correct. I'm not saying in his outrage, but he's correct factually that the crimes alleged that Manafort is under trial for currently are all about activities long before he joined the Trump campaign. That is what's got the president so irritated, and that has led to, I'm told, at least part of the spirit of fulmination about Mueller, about Manafort, about this trial, and about the special counsel approach to all of it.
Finally, Major, on another topic here, on Wednesday, the White House said President Trump is considering more than doubling proposed tariffs on nearly $200 billion of Chinese imports. Does the Trump administration think that could push China to the negotiating table?
Well, that's certainly one of its talking points, but the most important aspect of this announcement from the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative is to essentially clear up any confusion, and I'm not sure I was very confused about it, but some people might have been, about whether this is a negotiating tactic or whether the president is prepared for a full-on trade confrontation, trade war, if you will, with China. This declaration makes it obvious this is not a negotiating tactic, that the president is prepared to continue to ratchet up this pressure and increase the amount of tariffs, not just in percentage, but on available goods that can have tariffs affixed to them in order to drive his point against China, his many points against China: unfair trade practices, the theft of intellectual property, and other disputes, many of which, as the White House said today, have been clearly delineated by the Trump administration. And there is no evidence, and certainly today's announcement reinforces that they're not negotiating. This is not tactical. This is full-on trade confrontation. And however the Chinese respond, either they negotiate or they respond in kind with tariffs, it's going to move up the scale, not down.
All right, CBS News Chief White House Correspondent Major Garrett. Major, thank you.
Sure.